CDs for sale and some music books. I don't know if is it accordion or fiddle or both? Both. Okay. Both. There's also schedules of upcoming concerts up there on the counter. The bathrooms are back there. There's 2 bathrooms. If you haven't gotten some food, there's some food over there. And our next concert is tomorrow night. We've got Rum Ragged from Newfoundland. Yeah. Newfoundland. Canada. Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to those guys. I've been looking forward to that show for quite a while. And then on Wednesday, I believe it's the 18th, we've got Adrian Legg, probably one of the best acoustic guitar players in the world. Amazing. He's from England. So, lots of good stuff coming up that you can grab a schedule. There's also a place where you can sign up for the email list if you want to receive emails from me. I send out 1 email a week to just kind of give updates, and you can put your email on there if you're interested. So, all right, you guys ready? Right. All right, put your hands together for Gangspil.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and everybody. We come all the way from Denmark, very far away.
A very small country over there, to these big areas here. We've been on tour for 4 weeks now, throughout the Midwest, and we've been having a great time. And yeah, so we just want to celebrate that tonight with you guys. I hope that's okay. So we, woohoo! Yeah, we're
we'll
so
play
glad
some old
that this is possible again. Sorry, Sonic.
boogie. We're gonna play some old Danish fiddle and accordion music, old dance tunes, a few songs even. If we,
You betcha.
yeah. We'll start up with 3 little polka tunes from the island of Læsø, which is an island up northeast of Denmark, between Denmark and Sweden actually. On that little island they have some great tunes up there. Very kind of special music up there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Go something like this.
yeah, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you very much. Some polka music to get us started. So, do you like polkas around here? Oh, that's good to hear, of course. Who wouldn't? Well, we're going to slow it down and play a waltz now. So, here's the first chance to dance a waltz of the evening, I would say. A very beautiful, slow waltz. Yeah?
As you're touring around, or any year you tour around, but in the United States, do you get people that get up and know how to waltz?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
You betcha. Absolutely. Like last night in St. Louis, they were waltzing down there.
Yeah, this might be the only evening that nobody was waltzing.
Well, the evening is not over yet, though. Well,
In Denmark, do the kids at school learn waltzing or any dances there in these modern times?
Not much.
Depends on the teacher.
Yeah, that's very individual from school to school and teacher to teacher. It's unfortunately not obligatory. We would love to just go around and teach every kids all the. Wouldn't that be something?
As you noticed, this last tune we played was not a waltz. If you notice that.
Yeah.
That was a hopsa tune, which is a kind of a Danish speciality, and some of the fastest music we'd play. We're going to take it down a little bit now.
I just have one question for the sound. How is the monitors? Are they separate? Okay, could I have a bit more of sonic on my side here, both the harmonica and the melody side of the accordion, if possible? Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna continue with 3 tunes from the island of Fanø, which is on the west coast of Denmark. That's a very special place, not because I'm living there, but I am living there on this island, on the southern village of only 300 people. And in that little village, they have managed to keep on an over 300-year-old music and dance tradition, and it still goes on. They use this. They have mainly one dance that they like to dance, and they like to dance it all night through until the morning. I said music and dance tradition. They also have a kind of party tradition.
Absolutely.
And as I said, they like to dance this whole dance. They kind of get into a trance when they do this. It's a couples dance. There's 2 movements, a marching part and then a round dance. And they get into this trance, but they have a little, it's with a little help from a little drink they take, which consists of coffee, sugar, and aquavit. So the
fantastic system.
Yeah, the aquavit will make them happy, and the sugar and coffee will keep them awake all night. I can say there were all sailors there during the tall ships period in the 1800s. It was a big, there was a big seafaring culture there. All the men went to sea, and they sailed the whole world, Far East, even the west coast of America, around the Cape Horn and all that. And there's a belief that many of these tunes, which differs pretty much from other Danish folk music, that the sailors heard some of the tunes in other parts of the world and brought them home and kind of fitted them into the local dance. I don't know if it doesn't really matter, doesn't know.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these 3 tunes has titles about women. And the first tune is called, in Danish, Skal vi gå til fremmede lande for en liden tøs at få? And that means, do we have to travel to foreign countries to find a little girlfriend? And then the next line is just, over sø og salten vande til Amerika at gå. That means over sea and salty waters to go to America. And that's what they did, many of them. And the last tune of this set is called the Widow's Dance, Enkedans. And being a widow in those days on Fanø was very common. It was a very dangerous job to sail these ships, and many sailors didn't return again. So, well, it's Saturday night. Let's be happy. Yeah, let's party. Okay. But yeah, it's very beautiful tunes here. Thank you so much. I'd like to sing you a little song so you can hear this wonderful Danish language.
Does anybody speak
Sang
Danish
by
here
a
tonight?
real Dane.
No? All right, then we're pretty safe, huh?
And this song is it's an old folk song, a few hundred years old at least, maybe even older. And it's about most of the song consists of a lot of nonsense words that doesn't really mean anything. But it sounds funny, especially if you know Danish. But there is a brief little story, and it's about this farmer and his only goose, which unfortunately the fox catched it. And unfortunately for the fox, the farmer catched the fox. This version of the song doesn't tell how it happened, but it did happen. And the fox, of course, knows, this is probably the last hour in my life. Thank God, I must do something. And he says to the farmer, when you have killed me, could you please give my ears to the forester, because he needs a good ear to listen what goes on in the woods. And the hunter, could you please give my eyes to the hunter, he needs a good eye to shoot. And my beautiful tail, could you give it to the guy that makes hats and coats and things like that. And oh, by the way, my 4 legs, could you give them to the fox? And then he ran away out in the woods. Was never seen again. And the farmer is still standing there. This day he's still standing there. What happened there? He couldn't understand. That's the song. So happy ending for the fox, at least. But it has a very nice tune, so we'll try. Bonden havde en enlig gås, fjelligt sagde ræven, og den lukkede han hver aften i lås. For de hit, for de her, for de rev, for de rumpens slap, for de bundens firklier i virumstær, for de bræk, for de bundens datter, og den lille bitte kind lokker ræven fra busken og ind. Og skovfoden, ham giver jeg mit øre, fjelligt sagde ræven, for han skal altid lytte og høre. For de hit, for de her, for de rev, for de rumpens slap, for de bundens firklier i virumstær, for de bræk, for de bundens datter, og den lille bitte kind lokker ræven fra busken og ind. Og skøtten, ham giver jeg mit øje, fjelligt sagde ræven, for han skal altid sigte så nøje. For de hit, for de her, for de rev, for de rumpens slap, for de bundens firklier i virumstær, for de bræk, for de bundens datter, og den lille bitte kind lokker ræven fra busken og ind. Og bundmæren, ham giver jeg min hal, fjelligt sagde ræven, for han skal altid sy kasket og dakkabal. For de hit, for de her, for de rev, for de rumpens slap, for de bundens firklier i virumstær, for de bræk, for de bundens datter, og den lille bitte kind lokker ræven fra busken og ind. Ræven giver mine 4 ben, fjelligt sagde ræven, så smuttede Mikkel af skoven ind. For de hit, for de her, for de rev, for de rumpens slap, for de bundens firklier i virumstær, for de bræk, for de bundens datter, og den lille bitte kind lokker ræven fra busken og ind. so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
The next little set of tunes is some that we've picked up over in Iowa. We have a really good friend in Ottawa, Iowa, called Dwight Lamb. And Dwight has roots in Denmark. You know, his grandfather came over in 1893, and of course, he brought his family with him, but he also had both an accordion and a fiddle with him. Because he'd grown up in northern Denmark learning the local folk music up there. And luckily, he kept playing those tunes his whole life in Iowa. And he passed the music on to his grandson, Dwight, who's still playing today at the age of 89. We're actually playing with him on Saturday over in South Dakota, as a matter of fact, and it was a great time. I was lucky to meet Dwight on my first trip to America back in 2008, and that was the beginning of a long friendship that's brought me over here many times, and it's also brought Dwight back to Denmark for the first time ever in his life, and many times since. And on Saturday, when we were gathered there in Canton, South Dakota, there was a new film showed that was telling the story about Dwight and his roots in Denmark and his old music from Denmark. And it was very lucky that Dwight and his grandfather, they kept remembering these tunes, because in all the years that passed since 1893, most of these tunes were forgotten in Denmark. So yeah, only thanks to Dwight and his grandfather we can still play this music. And we want to do a couple of those tunes right now. An old quadrille.
Does this Dwight have anything to do with the Danish museum that's over in Iowa?
They know each other. The museum know Dwight, and he knows the museum. And he's played in Elkhorn many times at Tivoli Fest and stuff like that. And I played there with him, and we've been there, both of us. And that's just a great place, also, Elkhorn, Iowa. We'll get back to that, actually. But right now we want to play. I can mention that we did write all these tunes down from Dwight, so we're doing our best for them to stay alive now and trying to spread them wherever we go. And we have a tune book with us over here at the booth here, if you want to look at that later with Dwight's Danish tunes. But now we'll play a quadrille and a polka from Dwight.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Dwight Lamb.
All right, actually now we're gonna stay in Elkhorn and Iowa, and maybe 5-6 years ago we were also on a tour here in the Midwest, and one night we were about to play inside the old windmill. I don't know, have you all heard about the Danish windmill that they have in Elkhorn? So I believe Bishop Hill here was founded by Swedish people back in the days. But Elkhorn, Iowa and the neighbor town of Kimballton are two Danish villages over there. And back in 1975, some of the people there in Elkhorn, they got this excellent idea to buy an old windmill in Denmark and take it all to pieces, ship the pieces over and put it back together in Elkhorn. And it's still standing there and it's looking amazing. I must say it's sharper looking than most windmills we have in Denmark these days. And you can buy freshly grained flour from there, and there's a beautiful museum shop. And inside the windmill they also have concerts, and we've played there a couple of times. And this time that I'm thinking of now is, about 5 years ago. And on the very same day we'd had the sad news reach us from Denmark that the Queen's husband back home had passed away, the Prince Henrik. He was from France, and you might wonder, the Queen's husband is a prince. But yes, there's some kind of gender inequality happening in the royal family in Denmark, so that if you marry the Queen, you become a prince. But if you marry the king, then you become the Queen. So you see how that's unfair. And this French man, the prince, he thought it was pretty unfair, but he had to live with that his whole life, and then he still did great, and he was very liked in Denmark. So is the rest of the royal family, in fact. And of course, when he passed away, everybody was very sad about it in all Denmark. It was kind of a national sorrow, and of course the Queen was sad, especially. And we were over here and about, as I mentioned, to play in Elkhorn, Iowa, and we thought, what can we do about this sad situation? Not a whole lot, but a small thing we started doing that night was that we dedicated this set of tunes to the Queen and tried to cheer her up that way. It's a set that starts with a tune called Dronningens Cotillion. It means the Queen's Cotillion. And we've been dedicating it to her ever since, and it seems over time to have worked. You know, she's more cheered up these days now, for sure, than right when that happened. So we keep dedicating it to her and wishing her the best of health, and we hope that'll work for you too when we play it for you now.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So it's my turn to sing a song. This time it'll be another old folk song, but about a pig's herd called Per. He is working at the pig's stable up at the royal castle. And he'd fallen in love with the princess. And that's not ideal if you work in the pig's stable. So he goes to bed very sadly. But luckily the princess has noticed him as well. So she sneaks into his room. And when he see her there, he says, this is no good, you can't be here, you know. If you don't leave, I'll have to go and complain to the king tomorrow. But she still decides to stay, so next morning he goes to the king and says, I want to complain. I need peace and quiet in my bedroom. I can't have your daughter running around there. Then the king is surprised and he calls in his daughter and says, what's that for complaints I'm hearing here about you? And she says, yeah, I must admit I went to his room. I really like his company. And okay, the king says, that's not ideal, of course. But he calls back the swineherd and then he comes in now, this time with new, surprising news. He says, I might look bad in my dirty clothes here from the stable, but actually I'm the son of the King of England. So there you go. That's changing the story a little bit. So that makes the king very relieved. And he says, well, if that's the truth, then we should celebrate. I'll give you both my blessings and let's have a party. So they did, and they lived happy ever after. So, all right, a fairy tale, quite a fairy tale story like that. And on this tour, Sonic and I were talking in the car and came to think about it. You know Hans Christian Andersen, the Danish fairy tale writer, and he has a story about a swineherd there, and there's some similarities between this old song and the old fairy tale. And I must tell you that the song is older than the Hans Christian Andersen, so maybe he was inspired by this song. Who knows? But it's a nice song, and most of the song actually is a refrain. And it's not a refrain that needs you to speak any Danish. So if you feel like joining in, please do. It's just some tra-la-la. So let's give it a try. Per svindreng sad ved bolsteg og grej. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Fordi han ej kongens datter kunne få. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Om natten han gik til sin seng og lå. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Så trakkede hun i kammeret ind. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Om din støvel er så sort som døn. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Så springer jeg i sengen op til dig. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Så går jeg til kongen og klager over dig. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Om morgenen han til grotten gik. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Hør, jeg vil have ro på dit datter ind i seng. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Så lød kongen sin datter kalde på sig. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Hør, hvad er det for klage, der kommer over dig? Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Jeg vidste, at det sandt, jeg i sengen han skik. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. Så kaldte han på svenden sin. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-du-di-lej, di-da. For jeg er jo ej, så ringe en stand. Du-di-du-di-lej, di-di-di-lej, du-du-di-lej, di-da. Du-di-du-di-lej, di-da. Nej, jeg er kongens søn af England. Ja, så skal I have min velsignelse i to. Og der blev holdt en fin fest. Og lykkeligt de blev de to.
Christian Bugge, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
The original one.
Yep. Very much so. Okay, next up is two old tunes from the 1700s, tunes we found in an old manuscript book where a musician had written down his whole repertoire. There's luckily a lot of those old books survived up until today. You can find them in folk archives around Denmark. And this first of these two next tunes is actually from the oldest tune book that we know of, dated 1760. So that's some old super hits we're going to play for you. And again, actually, now is the second chance to do a waltz, because these are in waltz time, just so you know.
very much.
It's almost time for the break. But before that, we have 4 little party tunes we want to play for you. And with those, we want to wish you a great break. And of course, you can go eat more food. You can go look at the CDs and tune books, or maybe go across the street and get a beer and come back. I don't know what you want. But after the break, of course, we'll continue. But have a great break. And here's 4 little party tunes.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
We're back, and you're back.
We
Very
are
nice.
back.
Yes, good to see you. How was your break? Okay. Well, yeah.
We had a great break on the other side of the road. You know the place, I'm sure. Okay, let's do a little polka music.
Yep.
2 old polkas.
Let's do it. 2 polkas first, and then 2 hopsas, we call them, which is extra peppy polkas, you can say. So that's a dance that's often used right before the break, actually. Because if you play that, and there is a bar at the place where you're playing for the dance, then after the hopsa, everybody will go to the bar, and then you're good friends with the bar people after that. So that's a good little trick. We want to slow it down very much and play some old tunes again from the 1700s. First an old minuet, and then an old tune called Murky. And we don't know what a murky is. It's just from one of these old manuscript books, and it says murky. But murky is, there's a lot of tunes with that name, so it must have been kind of a popular dance at one point. But yeah, the tune is a super hit, so we hope you like it. But first the minuet.
Fuck, vi tager lige over.
Yes,
Yeah?
there are still folk dancing going on in most parts of Denmark. Absolutely. A lot in the cities, but also, places in the countrysides. And there's a young movement now that's starting up with, dancing dances from all over Scandinavia. So they call it Nordic folk dancing. Then there's folk dance clubs where it's primarily older folks. So those two scenes are a bit, split up, but so certainly dancing going on, luckily.
Have you ever
So that's
gotten
nice.
rounded up to be involved in any kind of TV or movie type historical stuff?
Not much, not me personally, but I can tell you that actually we have made a music video with this band.
That's the nearest.
Yeah, that's not super historically.
Business.
Yeah,
So if I look it up on YouTube, is it there then?
you betcha. It's right.
But,
It's
we'll
right
tell
there.
you more about that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We'll come back to it. Actually, we're gonna sing that very song that a little later. But now we're actually gonna revisit the island of Læsø up in the northeastern corner of Denmark. That island is mainly famous for some delicious sea salt that they make there, and they have been making it since the Middle Ages, in fact. And we were up there some years ago playing a church concert, and then we had some spare time over. It was out of season though, so not a lot of tourists as in the summer, but we still went to this famous salt place. We wanted to figure out what's the deal about this salt that's so, expensive and so famous. And so we went there, and luckily we found one of the owners, and he was willing to show us around, and he told us the secret about their success. They have been doing the salt for hundreds of years, but their huge success came after they figured out to start selling the salt in small fabric bags, but for quite large prices. So when people then saw these little bags of salt and said Læsø salt on them, and then they saw the price, wow, that must be good salt, huh? Whoa, so everybody wanted it. And so that's how they got really famous and popular. It's a simple trick, but it really works. We've been thinking, how can we implement this in the folk music scene here in our music business? We have not completely figured it out yet, but we're working on it. Must be possible. In a way, though, we wish that the music from Læsø would be more famous than the salt, so therefore we play 2 more tunes from there that we really like. These are Rhinelander tunes. If you want to dance a Rhinelander or a Schottische, that would work. Thank you. Yeah, some salty music from Læsø. We're gonna continue now with another old folk song. This is my turn to sing, and it's about a farmer and a blacksmith and how they're trying to get in touch with the miller's daughter. So it's a very well-known story. There's a lot of versions of this song spread out all over Scandinavia. But so the the farmer and the blacksmith figure out that if one of them jumps into a corn sack, then the other one can carry that sack up to the mill. And there he's talking to the miller and says, "See, I got this sack of grain here. I'd like you to make it into flour for me. Where can I leave it?" The miller says, "Well, put it next to my daughter's bed. That's a safe place where no rats or mice will come near it." Well, he likes that idea, so he gladly puts it there. Then the day turns into evening. Everybody goes to bed. And then the sack starts moving around. Somebody yells out, "Hey, miller, turn on the lights. There's thieves and robbers in the house." But very quickly the daughter replies, "Oh no, Dad, it's all fine. It was just a cat that caught a mouse." But then there's an older lady sleeping there on the couch. She says, "It sounds like that cat is wearing big boots." So, yeah, you get the idea. It's that kind of song. But I can tell you, it has a happy ending, because after 9 months, the miller's daughter is having twins. So, there you go. Great success for the farmer and the blacksmith. And this version of the song has 2 little refrains that we'd love to invite you to sing along with us on those ones. You don't need to speak Danish again. It's just some tra-la-la. The first little refrain goes like this. Oh yeah, tra-la-la-la. Just like that. Try that. Oh yeah, tra-la-la-la. Easy, huh? Yeah. Second little refrain goes. Fila jung, fila tra-la-la, fila jung. Just like that. Fila jung, fila tra-la-la, fila jung. Oh, yeah, you can do it. Excellent. So, it sounds very promising. Let's give it a go. A song about the miller's daughter. Bunden og smedjen til lauterod. Oh ja, tra-la-la-la. Hvorledes smeden skulle møllerens datter få. Fila jung, fila tra-la-la, fila jung. Så bunden tog smedjen og put ham i en sæk. Oh ja, tra-la-la-la. Og så luskede han så fint op af møllerens hæk. Fila jung, fila tra-la-la, fila jung. Hør du kære møller, så farver og fin. Oh ja, tra-la-la-la. Hvor kan jeg sætte havresækken min? Fila jung, fila tra-la-la, fila jung. Jo, du kan da sætte den alt ved min datters seng. Oh ja, tra-la-la-la. For der er hverken rotter eller mus, som skager den. Fila jung, fila tra-la-la, fila jung. Men da så alle var kommet i seng, oh ja, tra-la-la-la. Så begyndte den havresæk at kryve lidt omkring. Fila jung, fila tra-la-la, fila jung. Hør kære møller stå op og tænd lys. Oh ja, tra-la-la-la. Der er 20 og røver i vort gamle møllerhus. Fila jung, fila tra-la-la, fila jung. Nej, kære far, sluk dit lys. Oh ja, tra-la-la-la. For det var kun en kat, der er to en stakkels mus. Filler jung, filler tralala, filler jung. Men så den gamle kælling, som i slagbænken lå. Åh ja, tralalala. Hun så, den kat har stive støvler på. Filler jung, filler tralala, filler jung. Hør du gamle kælling i hus så gram. Åh ja, tralalala. I morgen skal du druknes i vor møllerdam. Filler jung, filler tralala, filler jung. Tidens vandrer måneder i, åh ja, tralalala. Så stod der en vugge med 2 store drenge i. Filler jung, filler tralala, filler jung. Thank you for that. And that song was in fact the one we made a music video about. So that's all you need to look up Gangspil and The Miller's Daughter on YouTube, and then you'll find our music video where Sonic was the blacksmith and I was the farmer, and there's a beautiful miller's daughter involved and an old miller man, and we borrowed an old windmill and some old clothes, and we had a lot of fun with that. So hopefully you'll enjoy it if you find it. And after that we played 2 little party tunes from Denmark, a 2-tur and a 4-tur, kind of Danish reels in a way, you can say. Now we're going to go back to Sonic's Island on the west coast.
Oh yes. Yeah, most of the music we play are old tunes and old songs, but on this island of Fanø, there's a living tradition going on, and when you have a living tradition, you must also add some new tunes to it. You don't must, but it happens very easily, and
Makes a lot of sense to do that.
yeah, it does. And so I have composed two Sønderhoning tunes in the old style. And the first one is actually, well, I made 20 years ago, so it's not that new, but compared to the old music, of course, it's new. I made it for my dad's 70th anniversary. All my dad's family was from this island, and for many, many generations. And he loved this music and this dancing. And the second tune is made for, it's just a couple of years ago I made it for some lovely neighbors. I have Gray and Line, and both of them are very, very good dancers for this kind of music. And I can say also there was this fiddler, Fritz Brink, which I think he died 30 years ago, but I remember him very clearly. And he took this music to another place in a way. He was very passionate about it. But he said, you have to imagine a sailing ship rolling in the sea when you hear this music and when you watch the dancing. And I think he was right about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, close your eye and imagine this rolling big tall ship. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Are you able to handle one more of these old folk songs? Okay, good. This time, well, this song is very old. I believe it's from around the Reformation. Yeah. Many versions of this song also all over Scandinavia. You hear in this song a lot of kind of fake Latin words, and those were made for making fun of people, upper class people. They liked in those days to speak Latin, and of course the Roman Church was involved with that. But it's a love story between a horsefly and a housefly. And this horsefly he's madly in love with the housefly, and he decides, I'm gonna ride to her farm and tell her my mind. And so he did. And when he arrived, the housefly was out in the yard wearing this nice hermelin coat, looking absolutely gorgeous. And there she is. Oh. And she says to her, "Hey, housefly, why don't we cook something up together?" "What do you mean?" She says, "Yeah, I'm so in love with you. We should get married." And she starts laughing at him. "Oh no, that can never happen, because you are poor and I'm rich." Like in the human world, kind of the same. And she says, "When I'm sitting on the king's plate, you are in the ass of a horse." And he don't like to hear that, so he gets a little angry and he grabs this fly by the wings and slam her to the ground. And not very nice. My experience with girls and women are you have to be nice to them. But very strangely, after that, she changed her mind, actually, and says, okay, when are we going to get married? And the horsefly says, okay, in harvest time, that's when there are most insects, and we would go and invite all of them to our wedding. And so they did. And it was a wonderful wedding. The fleas were playing music, the mosquitoes were dancing. Everything was wonderful. And, I'm sure. Of course there were. Yeah, and that's the story of this. And after the song, there comes a little dance tune, and that's of course the wedding dance. So here we go with the wonderful story of the horsefly and the housefly.
All right.
Bremsen, 2 ståler og spor på. Kom fi, kom fær, kom patria. Så red han sig til fluens gård. Kom bajer, bisatria. Og da han kom til fluens gård. Kom fi, kom fær, kom patria. Stod fluen ude, svøbt i mor. Kom bajer, bisatria. Og hørt du flue både fær og fin. Kom fi, kom fær, kom patria. Og vil du være der, kæresten min. Kom bajer, bisatria. patria. Hvor kan jeg blive, eller kæresten din? Kom fik, kom fær, kom patria. For du er fattig, og jeg er rig. Kom bare, patria. Når jeg sidder på kongens fad, kom fik, kom fær, kom patria. Så sidder du i hestens røv, kom bare, patria. Bremsen så fluen ved vingeben, kom fik, kom fær, kom patria. Smid det ned i randesten, kom bare, patria. Opstod fluen med snøfter med gråd, kom fik, kom fær, kom patria. Når skal der vort bryllup stå, kom bare, patria. Marie dag som falder i høst, kom fik, kom fær, kom patria. For der er bremser, fluer flest, kom bare, patria. Der blev så stort et brudehus, kom fik, kom fær, kom patria. Der spillede en loppe, der dansede en lus, kom bare, patria. The wedding dance. Thank you so much.
That's Sonic Lydum there on the lead vocals, ladies and gentlemen. Well,
Thank you.
I'm sad to announce that we've come to our last waltz now. Last chance for you to dance a waltz. Thanks a lot for coming out, and a huge thank you to John Taylor here for organizing these concerts here and for having us back. We certainly hope it won't be the last time, and thanks a lot to, I believe there's people, maybe there's people watching online. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you come out in person one of these days. Okay, thanks for listening, and we'll play this waltz. It's called In the Twilight Zone. So that's a pretty romantic waltz, and with that, thanks a lot, and hopefully see you soon again.
Thank you so much.